Hello, dear listener. Pete Daly Dixon here on the Six Star Business Podcast, and I'm joined by my co-host, Evelyn Clark.
Oh, hi, Pete. You don't sound 100% yourself.
Can we just move on, please? Remember last episode I talked about getting through to the final? Well, that was Sunday, and I don't know if you know, but we didn't win. Yeah,
Ouch.
It was close but no cigar and all that. But worthy opponents, yep. But win some, lose some. We'll have to wait for another time to have a repeat of 1966.
That's exactly right.
Have you had a better week?
I have. Yeah. Yes, had a nice little quick getaway with my kids for school holidays, and as always, they're always busy, but always good to just bond, do the family thing, and think about what can create good memories. What is it that we can do today that my kids are going to remember, and then when they go back to school or in a few weeks' time, they can look back on it and say that was the best holiday ever.
Yeah, we don't. Listener, you may not know, but we don't plan these intros. We just go with it and wing it. But something that you said there have made me think specifically about this episode in terms of creating memories. Because my biggest takeaway from it was, do you remember Robin gave us that question that he asked when he was responsible for that team, which collectively everyone recognized when it played out that became a six-star working experience for them. That question was pure gold and worth the listen for this episode alone.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So we've got Robin Miles and Joanna Zhang, and both these people just gave us so much. And like Pete said, there is some gold nuggets in this one. Definitely sit back and listen. And Pete's recollection of this with that big one question, listen for the one question and ask yourself and see what it means for you, because it is so powerful.
Enjoy.
Have fun. All right, no worries. Here we go. Let's get started. So welcome everybody to this next episode of the Six Star Business Podcast. Welcome Robin and Joanna. So good to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd love to get us started by asking both of you, not at the same time to answer this question, but one at a time. If you could tell our audience, our listeners, what you do in the world, like what lights you up, and how you serve people and where you live.
Well, would you like the
Who'd like
lady
to go
first? Robin point to me. Right, I'll take it first row. Yeah, sure.
I think ladies first tonight, yes.
Yes, my name is Joanna Zhang. I initially came from China, but now I am located in Australia. What we do is we help establish and growing entrepreneurs, help with their back office operations. So what we do is we're providing staff support as a team for entrepreneurs to relieving their stress from back office operations so that they can focus on the genius, do the things they love to do. And what lighting me up is exactly about the word genius, because I'm always thinking the energy level is crucial as entrepreneur ourselves. So keeping the energy higher and with the focusing on the genius is very important to keep us going. Yeah, so that's what we do and what we're here for, and looking forward to know about Robin.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Robin Miles from Byron Bay in Australia. So I'm a high performance coach and strategist. And what really lights me up is literally what I do. The organisation, my consultancy is called Inspire Me. And we set that up when I came out of my executive career to support my two young children who both had disabilities and wife who was majorly struggling at the time, and there wasn't much to inspire us at that time, and it was a matter of setting up my own consultancy, doing the work that I love doing, because if I wasn't supporting my children and was going to be away from that, it needed to be stuff that really set me on fire and what I was really loved doing and my purpose. And it is Inspire Me. At that point it was about inspiring me, but the work that I do is about inspiring other people as well. And it's very much about helping people achieve their goals. And sometimes people don't achieve their goals because they're not clear of what that path looks like. Sometimes they can be overwhelmed with a number of things. Sometimes it's a matter of skills, tools, or tactics to get the cut through that people will need as well. And so, I just love igniting people's performance to help them achieve what they want. And that's on the whole end of the spectrum. If they're completely overwhelmed and burnt out, to an organization that's like doing really well and they want to take it to the next level of supporting people, and what does that look like. So doing really purposeful work with people is what I love doing.
So just in those really brief introductions there, we've got a sense of echoes of 6-star already, words coming out like genius and purpose and ignition and inspiration. But I'd really like, Robin, we'll reverse it around and go with you first. So when you first heard the term, I guess, 6-star business, what was it that attracted you to it and has held your interest long enough to, and it is long enough because you booked on like months and months ago, it seems now, since we had our first call. So what is it about it that's brought you here today?
I think it's when I hear that term, what it says to me, it's about going to the next level. And that's what it's always been about for me, like it's, when I used to be an executive and we on infrastructure projects and we achieved great things, it was just like, we were nailing all of our metrics. And I was like, great, let's set new metrics. And they're like, but we don't have to. And I'm like, but we can set our own ones, that's what everyone's expecting of us, high performance. Let's set ourselves breakthrough targets that we don't even know that are even physically possible, because that kind of inspires us. Like, what do we need to do to make that become a reality? And that kind of just ignites me. And when I think of the term 6-star, it's like, cool, 4-star, 5-star there, right? What's this next? And to achieve, like the terms that I used to use, breakthrough results, they've got to be targets that you genuinely don't think are actually possible, and then that's when we're really stretching, our human capital. We're really stretching ourselves with regards to what do we need to do to get there. And what we need to do to get there isn't just one person's idea, because it's actually multiple people coming together, looking at things through a different lens to actually piece together and make the previously seemed impossible possible to go to that next level of performance. And so for me, that's something that I've always believed in, loved, and that's what 6-star means to me. And that's why I'm just interested in having the conversation and kind of adding to that creative genius to stretch the imagination of people and spark that interest.
Fabulous.
Love it.
Yeah, me too. Joanna, what about yourself? Asking the question to you.
Right. When I heard the first term 6 stars, the first impression is hotels. Right. When we're looking at the different industry standards, we're talking about which is stars. It's representing the level of service of products, right? It represents the quality of itself. So, for example, in our industry, we in outsourcing industry, and we providing service to business. Apparently 6 stars means a good quality, high expected, client experience type of service for the clients. So when I first heard this term, I feel it's a very unique concept, because in different industries, for example, in hotel, they have their standards. But how about for business world? We do, although there's no certain standard in our industries or for business owners, we should put a high bar for ourselves to reach for high, aim for high. Coming from, I think, 2 parts. One is vision. From a vision point of view, as a business owner, we should aim high as a high level of service or product, provide the best products. And the other thing is about how can we deliver that more the details comes around to merge it and really provide and realize it, deliver that part to the clients. So 6 stars, for me, I truly believe that is really good concept, and we can certainly learn a lot from each other. Although we're from different industries and we're doing different, subjects or major in different areas, yeah. So that's really interesting. Triggers me want to talk more and learn more from the others. Yeah.
There's so much in both of those that, we could go down any number of rabbit warrens. So pick a rabbit warren and we'll go there first.
Talk about passing the buck and the hot potato. My gosh. But I'll gladly take it. I'm going to send it over. Joanna, when you heard Robin talk about metrics, like when he was working in corporate and they were doing infrastructure projects and they'd meet their metrics and their KPIs, and he says, well, let's create new ones. What did that trigger for you when you heard that? What does that mean? How did
Well,
it
that's
feel?
actually representing how I understand why he's working in the high performance industry. It's all about, achieving the current goals and aiming for the next. And you're constantly breaking through your own bottleneck or your own barriers to be better. And I think that's what is this essence of the high performance about. And yeah, go better and higher and getting, approach all the way along. Yeah, so that's the energy and the attitude towards life and business. Yeah, that's what I feel.
And just adding on to it, because it's what's interesting, because I think people fundamentally have a misconception about what high performance actually means as well. And I love the way that you said, Joanna, there about life as well. Because the thing is, the way I often say to, like I get people who want to work with me and they want to 10x their business and they want to do this. And I'm like, okay, so why? Why do you want to do that? And they're like, because. And I'm like, okay, that's not a good enough reason. Because the thing is that you can 10x your business and then you can be divorced and your kids hate you and have a heart attack. Okay, now is that success? Is that really high performance, And so it's really funny because sometimes I even am talking to my clients about things and I'm like, okay, I want you to do this. And they're like, okay, when they're ready, like, what do I need to do? I'm like, book a holiday and do nothing, and they're like, seriously, you're a high performance coach? And it's like a matter of the high performance is a matter of, it is about those metrics that you said, but it's also about life as well. And one of the goals that I always remember setting was this, that I actually said to my team, I had a team of about 200 people, I think at the time. And I came in and I said, I've got one measure and this is it. That I want this working environment to be the best in your careers ever. That's it. So that, you might go on and do other jobs in the future and other projects and everything else like that, but you always look back at this time for being the best in your career ever. So if you're a graduate, I want that to be. If you're retirement, I want you to do this. So therefore, then what do we need to do to make that become a reality? Because it was like, it really got people to realize what was actually important in it, because it is the achievement of, right, well, we need to deliver projects quicker, faster, better, everything else like that, because that fuels that sense of achievement. But it was a matter of, we need to feel so cohesive as a group of people. We need to feel that sense of fun and enjoyment and purpose and meaning and all these other kind of like really like fairy dust of important factors that make that kind of high performance. And when I think about high performance, I don't just think about results and standards and metrics. It's metrics across that whole caveat stuff, which I love, Joanna, that you alluding to that in that high performance in life and the things that are really important to us. Hopefully that kind of makes sense.
So where did that come from for you, Robin? You didn't just suddenly start doing high performance stuff or just land with a team of 200 and have an idea that you want it to be the best place. So what's the kind of bit of backstory, if you like, to getting to where you are now?
Yeah, well, it's funny because, what you just said, that sure, they just didn't come in the moment. It did actually just come in the moment because I was there and I was like, I want this to be the best place ever that I have worked, and therefore I want that. What does that mean for me? I want everyone else to say the same. Whether or not we achieve it or not is totally irrelevant. It's like, like if I set a target of losing 10 kilos and I only lose 5, that's better than setting a target of 5 kilos and only losing 1. So it's a matter of having that, that perfect kind of intent. So for me, that did come in the moment, which is interesting. But like you say, it's all the things that happened previous leading up to life that get you to that point. And for me, I sat back, and even as a child, sat back and observed things and went, well, wait a minute, how can that be done better, more impactful? And I'm the youngest of 4 children. So they always joke and laugh and they say, yeah, you just looked at all the mistakes that we made and did everything that we did, but just did it better. And so maybe it was a family thing, but maybe a personality thing that I did always look at that. And then, even at soccer, for instance, or football, we can say in the UK, I was part of the team and there was another captain and they lost the cup and the league in the final. And I took all those learnings, and then I became the captain the next year, and we nailed both, And so it was always this thing of continuously learning. And I think one of the principles for me is that there are opportunities to learn every single day of your life. And I think that's something that I've always done, which is to go, okay, that's good. What can we do better? But that's not coming from a place of what we've achieved hasn't been good. That's been good. And it's always looking for that incremental kind of next step. And what does that next step actually look like? And I've always had a kind of a fear of mediocrity in some ways. And so that's incrementally got me there. And I've done a whole range of things like doing aid work in Africa and training in the Territorial Reserve Army in the UK, and done all these different bits that give you lots of ingredients. But the theme that's been behind it is this knowing that there's like the next thing that you can do. And I think really asking myself, what does that mean for me? Yeah, so that's been the journey for me. And from an engineering perspective, I went into engineering because I was doing aid work in Africa, and I could see more that I can contribute to society by studying civil engineering. That's why I did it, And the 1840s definition of civil engineering is harnessing the forces of nature for the benefit of mankind, and I love that. And I think engineers, they don't identify with that because they're filling in check sheets and building things. But if you can help them realize like why it's important, that really helps. And six-star businesses, whatever you're doing, there's a contribution that we're all making to society, and we just need to connect with that passion and that energy and that purpose and that drive to achieve better, to be honest. Yeah.
What was that definition again? Just say that.
Harnessing the forces of nature. Yeah, harnessing the forces of nature for the benefit of mankind. When I went for my first executive position, I had that as a quote, and I said, that inspires me. Now, the next slide was the 20, whatever it was, or 19, definition was engineers will be environmentally responsible, and they will have due diligence, and they will follow constraints. And I said, that is boring as bat. Like, we have lost the plot by trying to define things too much. We need to get back to the heart of engineers are here to provide a service to society and harnessing the forces of nature. And that's all we need to know. Get people behind the bigger order goals that are more important. Yeah. And I think that's where, going back to the 1840s, I think they had it more right than some of the definitions we've got today, to be honest.
Yeah. Paralysis by analysis.
Yeah, totally. I think
degree.
we've become too intellectual. We've overcomplicated it and stuff like that. And if you look back at some of the amazing leaders, back historically, they had this cut through because they believed in one thing, that was like a hanger that everyone could hang themselves off, like six-star businesses like this. That's like the hanger. There's so much too that we can hang from. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to say any more than that, because everyone attaches their own connection to it as well. And so that's where I think that, we've become a little bit too intellectual. I think, paralysis around it. We've created a rod for our back, and we just need to get back to the simplicity of life.
And what's in your background, Joanna, that's led you to, be in a work environment where you're helping entrepreneurs express their genius, and in that there's an implication that you're helping them, be more six-star.
Right. Okay.
Tell us
Thanks.
a bit about your journey to where you are now.
Yeah, thanks a lot for asking. Actually, just from Robin's talk, I'm so inspired about and achieving better. It's not just about result, isn't it? It's more about enjoying the process, and then harness the nature of the mind, kind of connect our soul with our mission and vision, with the passion going forward without stop, constantly improving. So that kind of feeling is as exactly where I came from, because I was working in the financial industry as a financial planner in the financial planning industry for about 10 years. And I love what I do, but I just found there was something missing from my world, either life or business. Someone said that your life was loss of color. So it's a gray color now. Why is that? Then I start to think about, okay, so I realized financial planning is all using the left brains. It's very logical. But on my character, the top radar, creativity is on the top, which means I'm more right brain type of person. However, I was doing something that usually different part of my brain totally, it shouldn't be that way. So then I decided, in order to perform better, get a better results, or maybe provide better service to my clients, I need to connect my soul with my purpose and mission first, make myself boost my energy first. Then I started to think about what would be the better way. Then I started to bring the creativity part. For example, visual arts. I love visual arts, so I started a studio. And then I started this Operations Genius service, which is providing team support to the business owners. Because I used to support senior managers, I run my own team, so I'm a linchpin. I'd love to use my creativity to help them to resolve the problem. So I combine everything together. Now I find this connection between mankind with my mission and passion to help the other people to be elevated to another level. But of course, from back office operation point of view, right? So that's all connect. It's like a dotting all connects together, like exactly what Robin says. When we find our heart and soul and connect with them, triggered our inner drive, and also at the meantime we aim for high and constantly enjoy what we're doing and get better during this process, we'll eventually get there. We can give our own definition of 6 stars of business, but we can always set our own bar and achieve better. Yeah, that's where it came from.
Awesome. And that, just picking up on a couple of things that you said there, Joanna, with regards to one of the things was one of the most disengaged areas of that team that I was speaking about earlier was like the business support team. Because they're like, well, we just do business support. We just processing invoices and we're doing that. And I was just like, no. And then I took them out to see and actually witness the lives that were saved from the infrastructure that we did.
Oh,
and I said, that's what you're doing, because if you didn't do that, couldn't happen, that couldn't happen, that couldn't happen. And it was really funny because once we took them out and showed them that they are actually a fundamental component, a cog in this machine, that, they're not the tires that are going around really fast, but they're an inherent component that makes that all happen.
Yeah.
And when they saw it, I said, what are you up to today? To one of the business guys, he said, I'm saving lives today. I said, oh, brilliant. It was great. And even for my team who help me in the work that I do, they are so inspired because they feel that contribution. Because if it wasn't what they did, the transformation that we help people achieve in their personal and professional lives, they have absolute ownership over that. And I think sometimes, with businesses and stuff like that, it's a matter of just connecting the dots for people so they can actually so everyone can understand their role in achieving the bigger picture. And if you just do that, you can really get some really good wins within an organization. Like you say, John, like really inspiring them and driving them, to put in. And it's not about extra effort or anything. It's just like they put their hearts and their souls into it because they genuinely believe it. And that's when transformation happens.
It's really interesting. Thank you for that, both of you. I was just reflecting on some of the experiences I've had in the corporate scenario back a number of years ago. And each department was very siloed. The departments didn't talk unless they absolutely had to, but each department had their own little subcultures going on. And, unless you actually knew someone, you just didn't even go there. And yet what you're talking about, Robin, and what you do, Joanna, you're talking about this interconnectedness. And I'm just thinking back to this experience at one of the big 4 banks in Australia where I worked. And I'm thinking, wow, my mind is back there now. And I'm thinking, imagine what it would be like if each of these departments actually shared what they were doing with each other. Wow. But it never happened, ever. And I wonder if there is... it takes someone of a different mindset, maybe it's a 6-star mindset, to understand the importance of weaving the hearts together internally in a business, no matter what seat you sit in, to really bring everybody up to that next level.
And I love the word, you use the word connectedness, because you know what's saying about this, getting back to basics. Human beings, the longest running research on happiness. People are happy. The first factor is connected. When someone feels connected, they are happy, they are joyful, their health, their metrics, everything for them go through the roof. When we don't feel connected, that's where, unfortunately, on the other end of the spectrum, people feel disconnected from relationships, community, and everything else like that. They feel disconnected to self and, mental health and, that end of the spectrum. And so when we look at it, it's just a matter of, the ingredients are right there. If we connect and make people feel connected with themselves, connected with the organization, connected with the different people, connected with the overall goal that you're all there to achieve, amazing stuff happens. Like, it's really seriously not rocket science. And I think that's where we've overcomplicated things so much, to be honest, that if you just do that. And again, I go back to that role. It was quite a long time ago. I've spoken about it for years, to be honest. It was about 15 years ago, I think, something like that, that I did this thing where anyone could come with me for the day. Whatever I did, so I was the director, but like if a graduate wanted to spend a day with me, yeah, come, and you just come with me and you just see my day. Because then they're connected with, and they were like, wow, I didn't realize the big picture kind of stuff that we did. Do you know what I mean? Because they were involved in all the conversations that I was in. If it was someone from finance or, wherever, and then they said, everyone said we should do the same. And that's what happened. They were like, I've always wondered what you did over there. And they would just spend a day with them. And you can go, well, that's inefficient because what? But it didn't. The efficiency just went up, Yeah, just from doing that simple thing.
I think we just had a gold nugget. We need to find a way of keeping track of these. In every episode, there's half a dozen things which any listener can take action on right away to make a difference and move towards 6-star. And that was definitely something there. So genius on one level, but so fucking simple at another. I mean, it's just like you said, it's not rocket science, and goes back to something we said earlier about what we're talking about, paralysis by analysis and overcomplicating things and overthinking things. And actually, if we just focus on the things that we as humans are yearn for, which is connection and belonging. No, it can't be that simple though. If it was that simple, then every business on the planet would be 6 stars, surely.
It's so funny, and people get really overwhelmed with stuff. And I've had some very senior people who have been managing directors, CEOs of big organizations, and behind the scenes, they're really overwhelmed and my life is complex and all this kind of stuff. And I say to them, right, I want you to do this one thing. What's 3 things that you're going to do today? They're like, well, this, write it down. Do it. I'll check in with you tomorrow. But what about this? What about this? No, just go back. Just focus on 3 things. Just do that for a day and then see how you feel tomorrow. They're like, it can't be that simple, Robin. Okay, well, just do it and see. Next day, oh my God, I feel so much better. It is the simple things. It's just because we try to overcomplicate it, and it's not. Most things, I say, everything that I say is common sense, and it's just you don't do it. That's all. It's common sense. It's just not common practice. And I genuinely do think it is that easy, but we need to get clear of it. People don't have it in the front part of their brain. We're so busy kind of copying and doing what everyone else is doing, which is just ridiculous, that to stop and stand out and go, wait a minute, like you said about nuggets, if every business owner just stopped and had a 30-minute chat with their team to go, wait a minute, what would it look like for us if this was the most awesome place that you ever worked in your life? What would we have to do that?
Yeah.
Right, let's just brainstorm a list of things. Cool. There's probably half of them we can start doing tomorrow.
Yeah.
That easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow, I've learned so much. Thank you so much, Robin. Wow, great.
Mic drop.
But what do you see, John? I'm keen to hear from yourself. You work with the back office with, all these kind of entrepreneurs and different people and stuff like that. Surely you're sitting back and observing things that are like awesome, but equally things that just totally don't make sense as well. Because sometimes it's not a matter of what you necessarily have to do. It's what, we can learn from what not to do as well sometimes.
Well, yeah, actually, a lot of time is from our dealing with the back office and working with the others. often what I found is no matter whether they work with the other before or had a bad experience, a lot of time is coming from us. The reason is from us. It's not really because of the other people. Just taking some golden nuggets from what you've said today, I can just reflect on our industry. For example, first of all, you said enjoy the process, right? Be better. A lot of time entrepreneurs, when they're dealing with their back office staff, they focusing a lot on results. If the result is different from what they think, they would say, oh, totally mess. That's not what I want. But they didn't really see underlining the process. They can really take some really essence out of there and make things get better. Either communicate them better or give them instruction better, and make them explore their potential better. It's a process. During this process, if they can find a fine tune to make things better, definitely the result will be better. So there's one thing, enjoy the process other than just focus on the result. Second thing, when you say a lot of entrepreneurs, they overcomplicate things. Simplify it. Focus, like what you're saying, 1, 2, 3 things. One day, a lot of time when they work with the other people, the work come back, they all over the place. I say, I want this, I want that, I want this, and this is not my feeling. No, but actually, if they just give us 3 or 4 simple steps, I wanted this to be changed, that to be changed, and try this. That's it. And then they see the result. Oh, it's much better than I thought. Other than they just throwing a lot of, feelings and this and that. Because we have different brains. We think strategically, but the team member, they think more detail oriented. Yeah, just simplify it. Use their language. Give a simple process. The second one. Third one, when you mention it, connected is so important. When we work with some other people, with our back office or even our support staff, make them feel like we're connected with the soul, right? We understand where they are, and they will understand more about where we are. When we connect as a soul and I let them understand, connect our mission and the goals, they can visualize gradually become us. They can gradually see what we see. Then their potential will be really explored, and they can be elevated to another level, and results can be even better. So I think through all this process, when we actually entrepreneurs, when we change certain ways we think, we work, we communicate with our team members, the result can be better. It's not just because they're not doing a good job. Sometimes it's from us. Give it a try. I think, you may find it's surprising. They can surprise a lot because they're very creative, very capable. We just need to give them a space, patience, and the stage. Let them perform. And they can do much better. Yeah. That's what I want to really share with everyone.
I'm smiling to myself because there's something quite meta about this conversation. Fairly early on, Robin, you're talking about what attracted you to Six Star is that it's just constantly just improving. And this conversation has just constantly improved. It's like it started off good, but it's just getting better and better, and but at the same time going deeper and deeper. And I think that's just, I don't know what it's a function of. It's a function of the Six Star mindset, going back to what I've said, that maybe it is a mindset just to be thinking about better in everything that's happened, that's going on. There's no question there, just more of an observation that the more I get into this conversation, the better it's getting. Does anyone else feel that, or is it just
definitely,
me?
Definitely.
Well, I think it is that like that next step type of thing. And as Joanna, and as Joanna said about there, like if they just pick 3 things to focus on rather than being so scattered, put your energies behind a few things. It's proven to work. And what I say to people is, if they're working on themselves personally, if you pick one thing every week for a year, that's 52 upgrades to yourself. So if you want a 52-point upgraded peak, just pick one thing every week and then sit with that consistency. And then that's when you achieve it. If you start with, right, I'm going to do 10 things this month, you won't do any of them. And so I totally resonate with that, just picking a few things and just doing one at a time. And there was an interesting story I had. It just reminded me as well about this, this incremental. I was training in Singapore, and I was exhausted and don't really want to talk to people when I'm on the taxi to the airport. But this guy was lovely, and he was just having this great chat, a little bit like this, it was just amazing chat, like. And then I went to get out, and he said, "Hey, can I say something? Can I let you know something, Robin?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And he said, I think it was Panasonic he worked for. He said, "I worked for Panasonic for 42 years. When I started as a graduate, and we all lined up, and the vice president or whatever came around, and he gave us each a piece of advice. And he said, the piece of advice he gave me was, if at the end of the day, you write down a few things that you did well and a few things that you know that you could do better tomorrow, you do that every day, you will have a life well lived. And then he moved on to the next person. And then sure enough, this taxi driver pulls out this book. It's like a tattered book. It's got a huge number on the front of it. And he said, I still do that today. He said, my children are gone. I just drive a taxi now, but I drive up to my drive. I get my book. I write my things. And he said, the one thing that worked well today was having the conversation and picking you up. He said, I close my book and my day is done, you know? And I thought, like, it's like the small things. If you just pick one thing and do it, like, it can transform your life. It can transform your business. And if any of the nuggets or the tips don't work for you, like, just find something, you know what I mean? And give it a go. Everything's a theory to be tested at the end of the day.
I found myself strangely moved by that story, Robin. I don't know why. Just something about it just encapsulates everything that we've been talking about. The connection between two humans, the consistency required to maintain that. Just when you said that he pulled out this tattered book that's got a number on it, and the fact that he's been doing it for 42 years, it's affected me, and I don't know why. That's really strange. Yeah.
It was a bit like when I got on the plane, I feel totally regenerated. I was like, oh man, I haven't been in Singapore like training all day or whatever. I feel totally light. And it felt like he was like almost like some kind of like fairy kind of character. Like that, did that really happen? You know, like it was just like totally surreal, but he loved it as well. And it was just, you know, like almost like two kindred spirits, like connecting with one another. But but I didn't walk away with it going, right, I'm going to do that. Because I'm like, that's the thing for him. And that's an inspiring story for people to grab, just doing the one thing, you know, and for instance, it can be going for breakfast with your son every Sunday morning because it's the thing that you do. Do you know what I mean? Like it's those small things. And in actual fact, it's a tip. My dad passed away 2 years ago, and I was with him this kind of time. It was the last time I was with him, and I asked him, you're 82 now. You know, you don't know what it's going to be like until you get there. So now you're 82. What do you want to, you know, have you got anything like? And it was really funny because he closed his eyes and he had a lung problem. And then he went all silent. And I thought, oh my God, he's gone. And then he went, oh, like that. And then he said, you would have thought after 82 years, I've got something more profound to say, but life's been good. And I said, wow, I think that is profound. Do you know what I mean? And then he went on to a few things. And one of the key things was that, you know, realize who you are and what you're about. You know, that was number one for him. You know, he was a father and a provider. And he said, look at you guys, I'm happy. And then he said, whatever you do, you know, life needs to be enjoyed. And if you're not enjoying it, move on. You know, he used to say, he said, a rolling stone gathers no dust, but it does gather a shine, which is this thing of like constantly moving, you end up shining greater. And the third thing that he actually said was put a little bit of you in everything that you do. And so coming back to the story with regards to the taxi driver, he put a little bit of himself in that action of choosing it. And that's where I don't think it's necessarily that you grab things from other people, but make things your own, because it'll have so much more meaning to it in business, in life, in work, in everything that you do. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. That goes back to something that we said towards the beginning, which is around understanding the self and starting with the self. And what I've just got from all of the last, I guess, 10 minutes is find that one thing, keep it simple, and make sure it's meaningful to you, and keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Joanna, you're kind of the people that you work with, that's probably, you know, what's the common factor with the people that you see being more successful who you're supporting? What's some of the common themes there?
Very good question. I think first of all, they're very energetic because they are the driver. We are the driver for our business. A lot of time, if we are not up to a certain standard with our energy, the whole team will be even lagging down. So first of all, that's why we always think focus on our genius will boost our energy level and always constantly be the drive for the whole army. That's so crucial. When I find of entrepreneurs with that energy level, they certainly will go further and far beyond. Always. The second thing can be the very how to say consistent. Yeah, so sometimes we can be tired, we forgot something, and sometimes we can be very up there. So team is like elastic, like sometimes they really relax, and sometimes whole bunch of tasks coming, they become very tense. So that can drain out the team sometimes. But if we have a consistency, give them momentum tasks and throw in some other projects, it's more like a structure wise, right? So team knows what they do normally, but they ready all the time, like an army, to handle all the coming up big projects. So when we have that structure behind the scenes, the team is more settled and we are more prepared as well, and keep the machine going with consistency. So that's the second one. Another thing can be they have a really good understanding and patience. Patience means not like ignorance, whatever they've made a mistake or, be patient on something stupid, right? Mistakes. Patient means give them room, really find a fundamental problem, point it out, but at the meantime, give them chance to improve and change. With a little bit patience, let them shine. And if you see this kind of entrepreneur can have this patient space, they will have a lot more, better outcome from their teams. So I think I normally generate 3 points. I think these three characters or features of what I see successful entrepreneurs can handle the relationship with the team so well, and they can be an army together as a partners, like what you're saying, connected. Everyone's connected, so they are happy, the team members are happy, everyone's get better each day, and the overall result will be 6 stars. Yeah, better results. Yeah.
More gold, more gold.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the way, Joanna, you reflected what Robin was saying. Robin, you were saying that one of the pieces of advice you give your clients is, go and have a holiday. Joanna's talking about it in a slightly different, like a minute sort of the ground level, which is have patience. That's taking a break, taking a breath, just rest for a bit and allow the magic to unfold.
Yeah. It's funny. I did a work with a coaching client today who has got wrapped up in other lockdowns and changes and whole range of stuff. And what do you think I should do, Robin? And we've only got 30 minutes and stuff. And I'm like, stop. And she's like, but what? And I was like, stop. And I've got an acronym for stop. It's not mine. It comes from other people, which is S is stop, T is take a breath, O is observe what is really going on right now, and then the P is finally proceed mindfully. And it was really funny just saying that stop, like that patience, because she was like really, and just stop. And you just saw her shoulders come back. And I said, how are you feeling now? She went, and she didn't do it on purpose, but you could see that she took a big, deep breath. Then I said, that's a good deep breath. She was like, oh, yeah, it does feel good, doesn't it? And I'm like, yeah, you know what to do now, don't you? She's like, yeah, I'm pretty clear. And we didn't talk about anything, that's all that she needed. It was that stop, like we are incredibly amazing problem solvers. Like the human brain neurologically doesn't like gaps. That's why we problem solve. That's where, like you might meet up with friends and you go, oh, I've got this. This is happening. Everyone goes into problem solving. Oh, have you tried that? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Because they get anxious about the fact that there's a gap in your life, let alone their own life. So we're problem solvers, we're fixers. But the thing is, there's as many solutions in the world as there are problems. It's the key thing is the right solution for the right problem. And what we need to do is stop and actually, like Joanna, I reckon this is really true for your kind of people, is to get them to stop, have that patience and actually go back to, there's only 3 steps to strategy. Where am I actually at? Where actually do I need to be? And then the brain is really good at going, okay, well, logically, I need to do this now. And we get built up in the frustration sometimes. And I heard from you, Joanna, that sometimes people get frustrated because they're not getting the outcomes that they want. And they need to trust a little bit more in the process.
Exactly.
And so it's a matter of just getting them to stop and go, right, where are we at? Where do you want to be? Therefore, now what do we need to do? And it can just calm people down and get that simplicity and that clarity around things.
Did the three, Robin, did the three attributes that Joanna ran through, did that resonate with you? Do you see that with the clients that you work with? Did you have anything out to that?
Yeah, like with attributes, it's really funny because you can go, it's this, and I go, yeah, absolutely, and then I could equally say it's this, and pick three other things. Go, yeah, absolutely. I think the key thing is it's about picking things that are then the hanger for other things to fit under, and so I love the three things and the way that you explained them and everything else like that. It's, the number one thing. Like if I really challenge it, and it is a question that I constantly ask myself, like if there's the one thing, what's the one thing? And I always used to say clarity. Because if we're clear of anything, if you think about anything that you were clear of, you achieved it. Because it becomes so real to you, you're clear about what you want to achieve. You achieve it. Do you know what I mean? And so clarity, I always used to say, was the thing. The second thing that I've found is commitment. So you might have the clarity, but how committed are you? And that's a distinguishing factor, particularly in entrepreneurs often have, well, it depends, because they can be committed, but they don't get the result. And then they just go to the next thing, go to the next thing, go to the next thing. So for me, I think the two key factors of people achieving anything is clarity, then commitment. Yeah. And then I think everything else is, fits underneath that. But I'll be really open to be challenged on that, because that's just a hypothesis that I've been, slowly distilling, 40 odd years of work to get to 2 bullet points. But, really open to other kind of perspectives or challenges or thinking on that too.
Right, you should work harder, Robin. Should it just be one thing? You got to keep
one thing. It was one. It was clarity, and now I've doubled it to 2, which is commitment. I'm like, but it should be now. I should have a third one. Do you know what I mean? Because three sounds better than having 2. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm like,
how about
clarity.
Consistency?
Yeah, but if you're committed, then you'll be consistent. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Right,
so. Maybe it's commitment and clarity and commitment gives you results. That's the third thing. I don't know.
Maybe your third thing can be connection.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's the human element.
Like that.
That's right.
Yeah, I think I've solved it. I'm going to retire now. I'm done. That's it. Boom. Now I'm going to drop my mic. Thank you for that. Listen, yeah, connection. Yeah.
I think before we head down another rabbit warren, we need to just stop and check the time. And when we do that, we can see that we've been talking for nearly an hour. Doesn't quite seem like it to me. Just yet another fascinating, deep, inspiring, insightful conversation around everything 6-star. I can't thank you, Robin. Thank you, Joanna, enough for your energy, your insight, your wisdom, your genius. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Any last thoughts, Av?
No, except that I have to listen to it again and get the scribe out and, write out all of those nuggets. And I'm just really grateful. This is what we're here for. We're here to unpack. We're here to challenge. We're here to allow the magic of this conversation to bring out more magic. And I'm hopefully for you guys, I know for me, that's what this has done. So mission accomplished.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Perfect. Yeah. Exactly the same.
Thank you.
That was another stimulating, thought-provoking episode of the 6-Star Business Podcast.
Thank you so much for getting this far. Please go ahead, like, subscribe, and give us a comment, review.
A rating, if there was a 6-star, we'd love you to give us a 6-star rating, but so just go as high as you can.
And if you want to continue the conversation with us and all the cool people who've joined us from the podcast, head on over to apply.6starbusiness.community.
See you there.